the first view, so to speak, of the letter Vav. We got to page Tov Resh Pei Dalet, and we're on number Bet. I think the first part was more of an introduction. We have some, if we can get to it, we have some answers to a question that he brings answers to two questions. One is, what is the Butzina de Cardenusa? Was a talk to that. And the other one, he talks about, remember, back we've been puzzling over what the word itra means. That we know that it translates into Watara. But it really, you have to think about what it means. He has some, he has an answer to this, actually, in the section we're going to now. He says, look at number Bet on the second column. He says, Rei Ba'or Yakar Sham. Shavir Kam Vizel Lashon. He explain like this. Let's talk about the Vavi law. That is the panemius of the appearance, my words, of the letter Vav, also known as the Butzina de Cardenusa. Now, why would that be? The Pirush Hu Sod HaDas and the Ellen Bekezer Elyon. So this is the Das, which is part of the original Keser, and it's the Keser Elyon who misansel of Meno, and it comes out from that Keser Elyon. In other words, if you look at Keser, I think he means when you look at Keser, there are 10 spheres in that Keser, and this is the Das of that. He says, Pasha besod Atzilus, and it spreads out into Atzil and becomes Atzilus. V'husod Kavameda. So here's a new word, a new phrase here, or a different phrase. It means the measuring line. Hanosen is sheer the midos. So what does it do? It brings boundaries or amounts or quantities. It means boundaries or measured amounts to the midos. The midos usually thinking the zeranpen. So the atzmos mispashadimo, which is the secret of the essence of the light itself, which spreads along with it, im hamidos, together with the midos. There's a light benimi to the midos. And this light is coming from that Vav Elyon. But the Kach Nikra Botzina de Cardenusa. So that's the reason why it's called by this name, Botzina de Cardenusa, because the Frishnu. We explain this over here in the Or Yakor, the Parshas Bereshis. What does he say? There's a little membes here, bet here. I think there might be something there. And it's a Vihine. We'll read on a little bit. Iger makom hadas who bein chochma bebina the mata. Down below, chochma bebina, it triangulates with them. That's what I think he means. Kain inya the das bein chochma bebina chad yoinish bekazis. So you have the same thing. That's our understanding of das to begin with, is that it triangulates with Chochman and Bina, but that's also the case, he says, in Keser itself, in the Keser of Erik Anpen. He says, Chochman Bina the Mata, Kain Inya the Das, Bein Chochman Bina Chad Yondish Bekeser. Al the Shisham in Keser, who Rachamim Betachlus Kulu Yomim, it's ultimate Rachamim. Itrin, but it crowns itself in this concept of two Itrin. Now we have once again this concept of crowning. Chasadim and Gevuras the Das, which are what of the two Itrin. Two Itrin, looking at Das, it has two sides to it. One side is Chasadim, the other side is Gevuros. The Yaris Ma'avhoi V'Ramime, where do they come from? It comes from actually Chochma V'Bina, which would be in the sphere of Keser. Behind the Omrechadis Ata Besitra, and this word says that it crowned itself Besitra. So later he's going to say that the word Sitra is, well, we're going to get an idea that this may be not the correct phrase. Because this one inclines itself towards it from this side, and the other one for the other side. So that's Abba and Ima pouring into Das, but nonetheless, it's not a pure left. It's, I guess you would say, it's all right. It's all from the side of Rachamim. But Tzedadim, Edel, Einim, Tzedadim, these sides that we're talking about, Sitroi, it's not really a side. Is the itra the das, but it's the concept of this once again, the itrin, pure plural, of das, the mata. As it goes downward, that is the das once again triangulates with those upper chochma bebina of keser. Ki kan lamala b'keser, because over here when we're going up and we're going into keser, the called inyan echad. All the whole thing really is oneness. V'tzad echad v'shorish echad ad kan. It's one idea. Now let's go backwards a little bit. Just pick up. Let's go back into the. We're going to pick up number mem base, mem gimel, and mem dalet. I think mem gimel we're skipping. Okay, so in the right up above the number mem bet, it's Kafrishna Be'or Yaker. He says Beparshas Bereshis, and there's a mem bet there. Let's take a look at mem bet. See if we can read it. Small print. Reba or Yaakov, he says, V'zal d'shana b'dikunim, he says, V'pirsho ki butzini d'kardanu, so we're really trying to understand what that is. He kavamida is the same thing as that, he says, the line of measurement ketefrishnu. Now, it doesn't really say exactly, V'noida she'kav hamida, so no like this. We know about this about the kav hamida. He mida the kol hamidos, it's the measurer of all measurements. In other words, the pneumistic concept of boundaries. I think that's what I mean. That's what a meter is. A meter is a certain measurement. So what is he talking about? What's the kav meter? It's a light that's coming from. It's related to this concept of the butzinu the kardanusa, the kav meter, which is inside of all the spheros. It's pneumistic to the spheros. It's a force. Shuhum neshama aleichem, so it's penemi to them. Shebiyada laharchivum lahagdilim. What does the kavamida do? It broadens them, and it makes them bigger. It feeds them. The noisach of the bidazach of amida, and it gives to their boundaries. I'm going to use the word boundaries, so it makes more easier for me to understand it. The midasam mida, so it's the element that actually causes them to have a mida, or a boundary. Or a nature of their own, which can be measured in some way. And so we see like this, as long as this mida is not mispashet, ein midos, there is no midos, there's no boundaries, it's just what would it be. So I'm just trying to think, what is it? It has no form yet. But as it moves down, this light then goes out. It starts to make different, let's say, encampments. And as it is moving, and it's going as a perfect person. I think that's word. I don't know. So so it sounds like it's on the same word, v'hilucha v'tachluchusav. It sounds similar to the same word. Heim amidos. These ultimately words going. What its boundaries are, that's its midos adkan. So this is a force that's inside of the light that causes the midos to be midos. Now we're going to skip number mem gimel. It's a site reference, and let's go down and let's read from number mem bet where we started and stopped there, and let's go down to Mem Dalet. So he says like this, Mem Dalet, V'hine iker makom hadas hazeh. So where's the main place that you find this das? Hu bein chochma bebina demata. That's what we said that. So we're reading again. V'chein inye dedacha bebein chochma hu bebina chadyonish bekesa. So inside of Kesa, there's also then spheros, and in there, that's where we're going. We're looking to see, that's the origin. We'll be talking about the letter Vav. Al Shasham Bekeser who Rachamim Betachlis Kula Yomim. Avarbisatach Betrin Itrin, but it has a way of being, we're using the word crowned right now, Betrin Itrin, which are what? Chasada to Itrin are Chasada Megavurs to Das. The Yaris Ma'avoy Me'imoy, which means that it's fed, or that there is a connection, a triangulation between the father and the mother, which is Chachma Bina. Behind the Omrid is Ata Besitra, and that's what it says. It says it's crowned on its sides. So I'm thinking that means for what's the sides? The side is the side of Abba, the side of Ima. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it goes. Now we go to number Mem Dalet. Now let me find number Mem Dalet down here. So Ritzon Alomar, B'Sitroi Pirusha B'Tzedada. That's what Sitroi means. Right, we're okay. There we go. Okay. V'chagavona she'itrach the das poned tzad yamin. Ve'itra the gevuras the das poned tzad small goes towards the left. It's very similar to in other words, the qualities that we're going to see in das, which enters into the goof of the Erika to Zeranpen. This is the same kind of concept. Although Khan, who are called Yamin, but here you don't have a real left. Everything is only right-sided. But so that's where it said V'chakol tzad echad commotion as we're going to get more explanation as we go on. So we have a little bit more we could do here. Let's see if we can read the next one, which is number Gimel, which is going to be a different pirush and a different look. So he said, Rei Bahadras Melachan, Shabir de Oz Vavi Lo, who Shor She'elnan de Gugolta Zer Anpin. So it's the ultimate root of what is going to develop from the very top of Zer Anpin into the Gugolta Zer Anpin. Shuhu Gevuros the Das, and which is what? He says this is the Gevura side of the Das, the Imach HaNekroim Butzin de Kardanusa. So we're going to get a little bit of definition there coming out of number Memhe, I think. And the Shuhu Gevuros the Das, the Imach HaNekroim Butzin de Kardanusa, HaNechlalim Yachad Im Chasadim the Das the Abba, so Zivug V'zel the Shonusham, and this is the concept we want to talk about here. There is a yichud that takes place. Vavi lo butzin in the kardanusa, it's a quote. Zel aloshan arachos abadaf reish ches on the base. He said v'shar mamari rashbi. He says what over there? Ima hi shor shadinim. No. The ficha v'ganas v'cha b'butzin in the kardanusa, because now the butzin in the kardanusa up previously in the who was that Or Yakar, he says it's the kavamida. So let's see. Taking the flavor of that, going on, but he shor shadinim, that im is the shor shadinim, the ficha v'gan is butzin in the kardanusa. So that, let's call it what the Or Yakar called it, or I'm in the wrong place here, the Or Yakar called it, that it's this kavamida. Let's just say, possibly. Which means that it's the place, what did dinim do? Dinim contract things. They set boundaries and midos. That's what midos are. And it plants the redness in it, which are very strong sparks. Now, when a yichud takes place between Abba v'Imva, in nitzutza, with this spark. A spark is lashon fire. Fire is burned, which is the root of the denim. So then they become again the word nechlal, they become one. And from that comes out the gugolas zer anpen adkan l'shono. This is what he says. Which is the upper root of zer anpen. Understand that there's a zer anpen in Kesser as well. It has to be. That he's talking, I think that's where he's pointing at. He's talking about the Kesser of Zer Anpen, of Erik Anpen, rather, and of also ultimately that fusion of Ava Ve'ima through this letter Vav, which the Vav is going to feed Zer Anpen. That's what we're talking about here. And let's just read over and let's see a little bit that we could pick up right now. The time that we have, okay. So he says, so Teda Eich Yatzu v'Amar D'Hainu Al Yedei Butzin de Kardanusa. So how? So it sounds like the Butzin of the Kardanusa is like a force of squeezing, of compressing things. So he said, Yedei Butzin de Kardanusa Gonus Be'ima, which is always that potential to be able to create that type of gevura, which is called Butzin de Kardanusa. Ba'ima is ater bezivuk abba, which comes about around. Now here's this word is sater again. It's ater bezivuk abba shuhu rachmim v'chem itrui. These are the itarim. So let's a little bit of mystery there on the word itara. Let me see. I want to get I have these printouts, so I get lost a little bit going which way is going which way. Okay, so now we came to number Mem Hey. Is it Mem Hey? Mem Daled. We did Mem Daled. That was for the other one, Mem Hey. So let's just read Mem Hey because we don't have that much time, and so I want to go over here. He says, Mem Hey, v'lechore yesh lomer od. He behadras melech, he said the el, mavur, the eirech bekan, v'zayin tikuni gegolta. So I'm always confused about what are the zayin tikuni gegolta. We know that you have 7 different, let's say, organs. You have 2 ears, 2 eyes. You have 1 nose and 1 mouth. Let's say that comes out to 6, right? 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, and 1 mouth. Maybe that's it. And maybe that's it. I've always been a little bit confused about it. But the boots in the Kardanusa, the Amarkan, who Gevur the Atik, it's actually the Gevur, the essence of the Gevur the Atik, the Gondach of Mochstimor, which is hidden ultimately in the Chachma of one of the heads of Eric Anfin, the lower head, which is the Mochstimor, who Tikkun based the Gugolta. He says this is the second Tikkun of the Gugolta. Sham is explained over there. The boots into the Kardanusa who Gevuros the Emo. So here wants to say it's Gevuros. Amnam lo kasher medi, but it's not a problem. When we talk about that, Hagana b'mochos limor, which is hidden inside, it's the Penimius of the mochos limor, who stores Gevuros the Ema is really the root that boots into the Kardanusa. Is really the root of the Gevuros. This is where the Gevuros that manifest in Ima. But the Nikra boots in the Kardanusa. Why? He says, explains of it there, Shar HaGevuros, it says, Shar HaGevuros, Efshir Shiyit Kain, it's possible that they call that B'Shem boots into the Kardanusa. Why? Because of this bootsina that's inside of that. Derek Shaila that takes that phrase, excuse me, I read it wrong. About Stam boots into the Kardanusa. Hizu HaGevura the Atik is what? It's the Gevura the Atik. And where is it? Which is inside of the Mochstimor. So let's just read a little bit more on number Mem Vav. I'm not going to go back up on the top for that concept, for context. He says, so it starts out with the words chitzonim, chitzionim. I don't know exactly what the name is. SIFRA Hadras Melech. Heim l'divrei Hadras Melech, b'mekom v'sacherim, shebechem who atku, we copied that ma'amarim shleimin shel Arizal. So I'm trying to get to what is he saying something. Going shonu shar ma'amari rashbicha b'shar kitzvah Arizal, like that. For example, shahoya. I'm not sure what this phrase means. So it's something they took from the Baal Mechaber Chamas Melech. That really didn't bring us any place. One more. Let me see if I can do this one. I'm looking for something. Shorsha Devarim Isach Be'id Rezuto Sham. This is what it says. V'zechad Hashono Haku Av Hu Wuchad Degonda Ba'atik Yom. And this Av that we're talking about is a ruach that is hidden within inside of Atik Yomim that's coming down. The is Kenez Hai Avira, and inside of that, this Avira is hidden inside of it. And it becomes incorporated in the nitzutza, the nothing but butzina, with a spark that comes out of this. They usually translate butzina as a lamp, which doesn't really give you the idea. It sounds to me like it's a fire, more like a fire. So the nafi bebutza the kardanusa the gonda b'moy the ima, which is hidden inside of ima. He says in the moy the ima, in the penima is the ima in her gut, so to speak, or womb maybe. V'kad is chaver of b'tavaychu. So when the two of them join together, v'iskalilu do b'do, nothing gugalto had to kifa. So this is the phrase he uses. It brings out one strong head. Go one strong skull, Ad Khan. So ultimately this leads to the skull of Zer Anpin. So which I guess he means to say the top of the Kesser of Zer Anpin. Hooray, Od B'id Rabbi, he says, Hooray, Gam B'dibrach Marchu, Shar Mamari Rashbi, he says, Shehei V'im B'adras Melech, the El, B'arvas the El, V'zach the Shona, B'toch the Varov, Kasher Nischadra Ava V'ima, when Ava V'ima joined together. And it causes, as a result of that, this spark, which we're talking about, a small fire, and this refined vira that we're putting to the zebazeh, that ultimately causes that yichud, causes the Gugolta, the strong Gugolta, the solid Gugolta, which I guess he means it has more physicality, of Zeranpin, Ein Sham. V'zal V'shana, I'm still looking for something. I'm starting to get together better, but it's best I could do. Gam Avira Dachya Kenoides, that when that put those things together, they cause this concept of Avira Dachya. Rei Mashi is bar b'kol zeh, the SIFRA Tzniuta. He says al ukaden avira nafik nitzutza v'izdamim ein sham. Rei gam l'cholon. We're going to see more of that. So I want to do the next one because the next one is really where it has this answer to what an itra is. This is number Memches. He says, L'chora kavanasa dis ater hu lashon hiskalmos. Means joining together, incorporating things one to the other. That's the concept. I guess he means to say that the crown has the ability to pull everything into it, or everything is pulled into it. So these two come together. So how does the word crown working in this? And he says like this, and he gives an answer. There's something else. The isater is actually lashon yichud, zivug. We have an example of that. So this is the use of the word isater. I just didn't see, as we were talking about it before, how it could work, and this is giving an idea of how it's the force that causes things to bind together. He says, Zohar Chodesh, in Parshat, so he says, this is what it means, Gadol Hashem Amuhulam Ma'od, or whatever that goes up, what causes it to become great, or that's the name to be great? His Anta Be'itroi, so that's it's fed, it becomes crowned with his crown. Be'ir Elokeinu, in this place, I guess the arousal of our God, I guess. Now here, so like the light of a Tika Kedisha of Eric Anpin, that's how it shines. What does that mean? This ought to begin the Hidavik Bekarta Kedisha, that is in order to be able to, I don't know what Karta could mean city. So he said that the Hidabek to cling together or cause a fusion, the Karta Kadesha. What is the Karta Kadesha? He says Zer Anpin mis Ater V'ha'aras Erik Anpin. So he says that Zer Anpin is once again joined together. It's a lashon of binding or a fusion. V'ha'aras Erik Anpin, from the light that comes from Erik Anpin, that he's Davek Be'ir HaKadusha, Besod HaYichud, in order to, again, we don't have a definition of what he means really by Ir Kedusha, but he means with that ultimate force, with the panemius of Besod HaYichud. He said, Kan, Umasha Amber his Adar Be'itroi, so the phrase where it says it's crowned in its crown, something like that. And before we had said that it refers to Chasadim Gevuros, who sod esrog upanimi. So this is the concept of an esrog. What is the esrog anyway? It's the Ataras Yisod. So here he is at the Itra Yisod, the Ataras Yisod. Shuhu sod esrog, which is the secret of the esrog. The esrog is the Ataras Yisod. Hanikdas bepanimi besod the Yichud, which comes into the panemius. That's what the Ataras Yisod does. It's the ultimate extension of where yichud will take place. V'dacha ki b'lashon Yevoni korem l'mi shehu nosri mu'uter ad kan b'ayin sham od. That's what I wanted to look at. That's what I was looking for. And